Welcome to Your Mind is Infinite, the official podcast of You the Mind Company. I am Doreen Deigh, your host. This show dives into the future of brain and body intelligence, where neuroscience meets innovation, strategy, and human connection. In this episode, we're joined by Salma Dodin, Director of Operations and Fractional CFO at You the Mind Company. Salma blends science and finance in a way few can, shaping both the operational heart and the financial backbone of a company pioneering non-invasive neurostimulation for neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Welcome, Salma, to the podcast.
Hi, Doreen. How are you doing?
I am fine, and you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for asking. I'm so honored to be with you today.
I am honored as well. In this episode, I would like us to talk about what it takes to grow a neuroscience startup from an idea into a global force for brain health innovation.
Hmm.
Salma, you have a background in medical physics and computer science.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I would want to, first of all, start by what drew you into this intersection with your physics, finance, and neuroscience background.
Okay, well, honestly, I didn't plan for it. Like, I studied physics and computer systems because I love systems and code, like whether it's the electron or the code itself. I wanted to understand the system, break it down, work with it. But then hilariously enough, I found myself working in a hospital as a medical physicist, and I loved it. Although I had sworn off healthcare before because my whole family is doctors, and I didn't want that. But
Oh,
then I
okay.
found myself in a hospital nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the passion that you share for the patients. So
Hmm.
I studied medical physics after that, and one thing led to another. I found myself more and more into the financials of how this works. And once you understand that these are all systems, it becomes not really different whether it's healthcare, whether it's financial, whether it's physics itself. It all works for you. It's just another system.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it all works as long as you know how to navigate it, right?
Yes.
So when you joined You the Mind Company in 2022, what problem or possibility made you say, I need to be a part of it?
Okay. Well, two things that I saw immediately. Actually, the first thing that was a big moment for me was the clinical data. 80% tremor reduction in Parkinson's disease in just a few days, not a month, non-invasive, without a surgery. This is amazing. And you don't have to be like uh, you don't have to be the person who understands the science to know that for business, this is going to be great, which is the second thing that I understood right away and drove me to join the company. Like, if you can turn this into a business model, this is what people are drawn into. This is not invasive, not a surgery. This is a recurring revenue because you pay a certain amount monthly to get the stimulation. So any business investor or any patient would be equally interested in that. And I think that the two things were that, first of all, the clinical data itself and
Mhm.
the ability to transform these data into a viable business model that would be equally interesting to investors and patients alike. Because for patients, when you tell them, hey, this is non-invasive, no surgery required, that's a great catch for them. And to investors, when you say, hey, there's a recurring revenue going on, they say, hey, this is a good business model. This is something that I want to be in, part of. So yeah, when I saw these two things together, and with my, love for patients and care for people around the world, especially with such a disease like Parkinson's that really hinders your functionality in life, it became an easy join.
Mm. No, I understand. I understand that. I understand. Thank you. You have a mind for systems. Do you remember the first time you realized that physics and operations weren't that different?
Well, let me think about this. Well, actually, yeah, because I catch myself almost all the time thinking in physics terms. Like when I, for example, deal with a messy balance sheet and think, okay, so how do I figure out why the balance sheet isn't balancing? I find myself, thinking in terms of systems, like and variables. What
Mm.
if I change this and kept that constant for a while? What if I change this and keep that constant for a while until I figure out the problem? So structurally, they are the same. Everything, everything in the universe actually is the same.
The same.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So let's talk about running the company like an equation. You oversee both operations and finance, two
Mm.
very different worlds. How do you switch between structure and strategy?
Well, honestly, I don't think that structure and strategy are that different to begin with. Structure is how you build your strategy. So for me, for example, structure is the numbers, the data itself, and strategy is how you deliver these numbers to come up with workflows. So, for example, let's say that for my structure, I know that our KPIs are such and such and such and such, for example. So I build my strategy around how I use these numbers to fill in the gaps that I see in our workflows right now. So, and when you think about it this way, you tend to see that financials and operations are the same. So actually, financial is just another part of operational work that it has its own workflows, it has everything. So yeah, it's just like again, the universe is built out of these systems, and
Mhm.
once you figure out how a system works or how to break it down, you understand whether it's healthcare, whether it's finance, whether it's operations. It's just becomes mirroring of each other.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's one challenge you have had to solve that felt more like a physics problem than a business one?
Everything. Everything, because I keep catching myself thinking in physics terms.
Mm,
So, for example, when I think about, let's say, timelines in for a business model, when you have a pipeline of products, you want to build, you have to have the clinical data for product A before you can operate on product B. So when I see them, I see myself in the multiverse of physics. So I just like. Every time I draw these parallels, but I try to keep them to myself because you don't want to be singled out as the nerd in the room.
oh, I understand that. I understand that. And half the time, people won't even understand when you explain it to them because they don't know physics, right?
Well, I believe in something that a great teacher once said. Um, I believe it's Carl Sagan. And he was a great teacher, as well as a great physicist. And he said that if you can't explain something to like a fifth grader, I'm not quoting him right now, but this is
Mm.
what kept in my mind. Like, if you can't explain physics to a fifth grader, it means that you don't understand the problem, or you don't
Oh,
understand physics itself.
okay.
So I feel like I can express some of the physics terms, but what I meant was like the interest level, because
Oh,
sometimes people
okay.
are like, okay, that's she's talking physics. That's not trendy. I know
I
what physics
understand.
right now.
I understand that. I understand.
Yeah.
What do most people misunderstand about how startups in healthcare actually scale?
Well, they think it's slow because of regulatory work, which is not true. It's it's sometimes slow because it's non-linear. You have to really grasp the data, the accuracy of the data, and then this part might seem long, but once you already have the data, the deployment becomes very fast. Maybe you
Mm,
are working in one country and you're taking your time with it. You take the same playbook and replicate it across another 5 continents or 20 countries or something like that. So it's not always slow, but it needs to be meditated and thought about
mm.
very carefully. And it's not because of the regulation. Regulation is only one part of it. So that's what the biggest misconception that people think when they think, it's healthcare. So you have to wait for FDA approval. You have to do that. No, it's not like that. And it's a gold mine once you understand the real potential in business and once you have good data.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about the the $5 million campaign and investor relations. You're leading a $5 million fundraising campaign. That's very massive. How does
Yeah,
that process look like behind the scenes?
exciting. Because you build the models for that. You collaborate on every level operationally. You talk with investors. You are always on the phone with the CEO. It's you're juggling too many things, but at the end of the day, when you think of what this means to the company, it really pales in comparison. So um, I would only say that it's exciting because that's how I feel about it. I don't feel the stress or the worry. Sometimes I do, like any other human, but mostly excited about it.
Because when it works, it's going to be very massive, and behind the
Yes,
scenes makes it very great.
yes, it's going to be very massive, but not just on a personal scale, but when you think about what this means to the company itself, because our mission is to grow globally and to have thousands and thousands of patients around the world use this technology and benefit from it. So every dollar that you build towards that is something great. That's how you think about it. You think about how the money is going to scale the project, not about the money is going to make my personal life better, although it would, but that's not the
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, yeah. It's what the company stands to benefit and do with the money, and what people stand to benefit from what the company will be doing.
Correct, correct. Yes.
So, moving on, how do you translate the language of neuroscience into something investors feel excited about?
Okay, that's a great question. So first of all, I try to not dwindle on the science of it, the how it works, because that's not what makes investors want to invest. They want to know why it works, and so what if it works? How is it going to work for us? So
Mm.
instead of saying, the brain stimulation happens and the neurons, get, stimulated and everything like that, instead of saying that, you say something like, okay, we see an 80% reduction in tremor in patients in just 5 days. And it's a recurring revenue because we can uh, do the stimulation with something like your phone in your hand or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, only for
Mm-hmm.
something like $20 every month. So for an investor, they go, aha, that's revenue. That's
Mm,
recurring revenue. It's not just that you're selling the device. You have a business model that works. So
yes.
for me, the aha moment for the investor themselves, when I see them go from, okay, how does this technology work, to uh, what can we build with this technology, or how can we how can we gain revenue from it? And that's the translation. That's the language translation.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you already spoke about the aha moments. That was the next my next question.
Oh,
But it's fine. Let's move towards being a woman in science and strategy. As a woman
yeah.
leading operations and finance in a neurotech company, what's been most empowering or even maybe surprising about your journey so far?
Okay, well, I try not to think about the gender thing because I am a very liberal person when it comes to that. I do not believe in gender differences or
Gender
in
roles?
racial differences of gender roles or anything like that. However,
Mm.
sometimes when I walk into the room and I know that, okay, that's the person who is has a master's degree in medical physics and does finance. So she knows the science and she knows the numbers. So she speaks to computers and she speaks to investors. I feel like, a little empowered sometimes. So, it's a guilty
The
pleasure.
flex, it's a flex, it's a flex, you're flexing.
Yeah, okay. So I am that person, okay, hey, I am that person, but not from the perspective of being a woman, but from being the person who has this knowledge, which is empowering. Any person can gain knowledge and can make something for themselves. And this is something that we really firmly believe in at You the Mind Company, that we are building something to show people that anyone can do this. Anyone can build something for themselves. And
Mhm.
that's part of our mission and our vision. So, yeah, I think of it personally the same way. Like, if you can just get the knowledge and be that person in the room who attracts the attention because of your brain, not because of the color of your skin or the gender that you have or anything of these things that really, 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 really just do not matter at all.
Mm, I understand. Um, so have you ever caught yourself using physics metaphors to explain business concepts? Because I know I would have.
Yes, all the time I would be like, okay, so how do we remove the friction in this customer's journey, for example, or like friction. But I try not to be singled out as the nerd in the room, so I try to, hold myself and not use metaphors. However, the cool thing about working with someone who was in physics himself, Mo, you get to elaborate and
Yeah, it's
use all
easier
the
to
science.
flow with him.
Yes. So it's really good. And again, when once you learn to see the parallels between everything, between physics and science and the world and how it's designed and the history and everything, you see that you have systems and you have flow that keeps
Hmm.
repeating. So you once you have this I call it like a Marvel power, like like the
Mm.
Marvel movies. You,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you um you decide on what language to use basically and how to think. But I love thinking physics because it was my first baby after all, it was
Yeah.
my first love. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do catch myself all the time using it in my speech, but again, yeah, not wanting to be singled out. So I try to restrain myself.
I understand. I understand. As we round up the podcast, this episode, what do you see as the biggest opportunity in making brain health technology more accessible worldwide?
Well, how to make it accessible worldwide? I think what we're doing is exactly that. Because right now everybody is thinking surgery, 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 and we are thinking non-invasive, which is going to make this, much accessible to people. This is something that you can do at home. You don't have to go to the clinic as much. This is something that you can do just with your phone, your computer, sitting relaxed at your home. This is something that you can do from the comfort of your couch, of your house. So this, when you compare this to going to the hospital and paying around 50,000 K of USD money to open up your brain and put a device in there, I think it's the future. This is what makes it much more scalable. People do not like invasive anymore, I think.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the more it's non-invasive, the more it's scalable. And that's what
Yeah.
we're looking forward to do.
Okay. If we fast forward 5 years, what does success look like for you and for you, the Mind Company?
Oh, wow. I I have to think of myself as different from the entity. Uh, for me, I would be learning much more from the journey. I would have learned much more from the journey itself. And for the company, it's exactly what I described before. Being deployed on a global level, having people around the world have access to this non-invasive technology. So if we are like in I don't know, 6 continents, 20 plus countries, and people of someone in California and someone in Egypt are using the same technology to make their life better. That's how
Hmm.
I see success for you, the mind.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And as we end, I wanted to end on a personal note, actually. What keeps you energized through all these time zones and spreadsheets?
Okay, well, this is funny because the time zones especially sometimes can be hard. Um, but the data itself is what keeps me energized. The truth it holds in it, the future implications, everything like that is what keeps me energized and makes me say, okay, so what if it's a meeting at midnight, and it's only 4 o'clock for everybody else, but it's midnight for me. That's fine. I'll do it. Because you
Hmm.
see the potential, you see the truth in the data itself, and it keeps you awake at night. Yes,
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Salma, thank you very much for joining me on
you're
today's
welcome.
episode. I have been very much inspired,
Thank
and
you
it has
so much.
been very refreshing to have you on this episode.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you here. and I love the episodes that I have seen before. And everybody just hit that follow, hit that subscribe button to the podcast, like I did, and enjoy this show that one day we will look back at and think this was the beginning of the change for a lot of people.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Salma. You have said it all. I have been your host, Doreen, and this has been the official podcast of You the Mind Company. Till the next episode, take care. Bye.